In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Merge Aperture tool of Pixel Creator Pro. It's a great tool, has a couple of different very useful uses, and so we'll show you what those are. So let's begin by simply drawing out a selection and choosing Add Aperture. That, of course, creates a new image layer. And then what we're going to do is switch to our Move tool, use a little Photoshop technique, which is holding down the Alt key and dragging, or Option key for you Mac folks, dragging straight down, and that all that does is create a duplicate. And then I'm going to use Free Transform and resize this bottom one here just a bit. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to take these two individual image layers and I would like to merge them into one new image opening. So let's do that. Let's select them both and then we click Merge Apertures, and Pixel Creator Pro will ask us, do we want to convert bitmap masks to vector masks? And almost always we'll choose yes, and here's why. Because it does something really incredible for us. Not only does it combine both image openings into one new image layer, but it also in the process created us a vector mask. And you say, well, what's significant about that? Well, once we've created this type of image opening configuration we like, if I want to then come up here to the edit menu and choose define custom shape, I can actually save this configuration. So that the next time I want to create this type of shape, I can come into my custom shape tool here in Photoshop, choose the different shapes that I have loaded, and there is that new shape configuration that I can then drag out and position in my document. So that when I insert a photo into this, the photo will take up both the bottom, top and bottom halves of the image opening, leaving that small space in between. So it can actually be a really neat effect. Now let me show you a little bit more advanced technique. It involves a few more tools, but now you can get an idea of some of the different functionality here in Merge Aperture. So I'm going to make a more or less square selection. I'm going to use our Quick Divide tool here in Pixel Creator Pro. And I'm going to divide vertically by 3 with a 1/4 inch spacing and horizontally by 3 with a 1/4 inch spacing. And I'm going to choose Create Image Layers, and I'm going to add this option, which is our Create Guideline option, and hit Divide. And essentially what Pixel Creator Pro will do is create 9 equal sized image openings. Now what we're going to do is we're going to delete a couple, and just drag them into the trash can, and then we're going to take this one and free transform it, and because we created those guidelines, we have something to snap to. Now I'm going to go ahead and clear out those guides so we can see things a little bit more clearly. So you can see the interesting arrangement of image openings that we've created, and once again I might want to save this configuration to use again and again rather than having to use that Quick Divide tool, entering all those parameters in order to get this end result. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select all my image layers, choose Merge Apertures again, and again, because we have a bitmap layer mask, it says, do we want to convert bitmap mask to vector? We'll say yes. And you'll see over here in our layers palette, everything's being converted from a bitmap to a vector as it regards to the layer mask, and now all the layer masks are being combined into one new vector layer mask. And again, if we were to insert an image, the image will insert into all of these openings. But if I select my vector layer mask here in my layers palette and choose Edit, Define Custom Shape, I can, of course, define this as a new custom shape so that the next time I want this type of configuration, I just come back into my custom shape tool, and just like before, we have that brand new configuration. So it's very, very nifty stuff. And of course, because we saw earlier the Break Apart tool, if I want each box into its own separate image opening, just click Break Apart, and each box becomes its own separate image opening. And it's that simple. So you can see now each box is in fact its own separate image. So it's very, very easy to very quickly generate using Merge Aperture. Now finally, the other neat thing about Merge Apertures is not only does it work on a regular layer, but it also works on shape layers, or layers that have a vector layer mask. So when I click on my custom shape tool, for example, let me show you some of the fun things we can do with this. So what I'm going to do here, this is one of our collections that come with Pixel Creator Pro. And in fact, if I open this up, you'll see lots of different collections. But this is our Photo Blocks Volume 1. Okay, so this is our Photo Blocks Volume 1. And what we're going to do is take one of our photo blocks and we're going to drag it out. Like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add to this. So we're going to scroll down here and let's grab our butterflies and add it to the top. And then finally, let's grab some scroll work and we'll just draw it in here. And I'm going to rotate this a bit just for effect, just because we can, and reposition it down here. Now, you can see what we have is we have a great looking new type of shape, and what we have is 3 individual layers. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to combine each of the 3 into one new layer. And so just like before, I'm just going to make a selection and choose Merge Apertures. And it's because we already have a vector layer mask on each of those layers. It just takes all the vector layer masks, combine them into one new shape. So when I click on my vector layer mask, I can go to Edit, Define Custom Shape. And now we have a brand new shape. So when I go back to that custom shape tool, just like before, there is our new configuration. So when I drag it out, there it is. And so now when I insert an image or a texture, it's going to fill in all of the design elements of the original photo block, as well as the little butterfly and its scrolls, as well as the scrolls that I put down here to the bottom right hand corner. So very, very useful tool, that Merge Aperture tool, because it allows us to create some really interesting and unique different types of shapes using that Merge Aperture function.